Yo, what's happening everybody, King GBL here and welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing a team in the little cup featuring Dewpider, BRONZOR in the lead and SHELMET as well in the back. So this morning I was playing a lot of games of little cup and I was running a team with Wooper, BRONZOR and Seal as the safe swap. Well guys, I just seen literally double dark like almost every single match. So at that point I was like, oh, this is so rough. And actually, at the beginning of this cup, Dewpider, they forgot to unban it because it was banned for the little cup remix or something, or it was banned in one of these cups previously. So you actually did not have access to Dewpider. So I thought like, oh, this is so rough. I need something to deal with these dark Pokemon. Pretty much every game I was seeing dinos and even like some skunkies and stuff like that. It was just super rough. I went on a massive losing streak. I think I lost like literally 10 games in a row. Towards the end of the Mountain Cup, I was up to about 2450 elo. I'm sitting around just over 2300 now. I kind of recovered my elo a little bit with this team. At the very start of this cup, man, I went 1-13. Like I said, I was running BRONZOR, got double dark. I took off BRONZOR, put on Vulpix, got double water. Like, it was just absolutely brutal. You guys know how it goes, man. You switch your team and then you get hard countered sometimes. Like, that's just, you know, that's just what happens, you know. It's just a coincidence, I guess, but I don't really like this discussion, by the way. Like, I know like some of you guys like talking about it, but I honestly, for me as a content creator, I just don't even like talking about it, and you know what I'm talking about. But like, I'm sure even if you don't believe it exists or whatever, I'm sure you could admit that, you know, sometimes you change your team and then just conveniently you start seeing the same Pokemon that you're running, even though they're quite rare Pokemon. But we're not going to get into that discussion today, folks. We're getting into discussions about Dewpider, and honestly, this Pokemon's really good in this cup. The thing I liked about it quite a lot is it gives you a lot of play like neutrally as well. Bug bites do super well. You can do pretty well against like there's some like Charmers with grass. You can debuff with the Bubble Beam, and you guys are going to see this matchup right here against the BRONZOR. You can just like these bug bites start adding up. It's funny, the BRONZOR I'm using here, I decided to go for BRONZOR double dark counter basically. So we're running this with SHELMET. Unfortunately, as soon as I started running this team, I just did not see that many darks. But again, you know, different story for a different day. If you do start running into a lot of darks with this team, you know, you'll see a lot of anti-BRONZOR teams. You will just absolutely just go run through them with Dewpider. Dewpider is definitely the MVP of this team. We get a little bit of a debuff off on the Ducklet, and we'll come in with our BRONZOR here. You could maybe run like a different team. Honestly, like I've been using BRONZOR quite a lot, and I'm not like the biggest fan of it in the world. Like, it just tanks a ton of damage, and it does a lot of damage with the piggybacks. I was actually running it with a single move, and as you can see it here, I've got Gyro Ball, which I mean is fine, but I think I'd prefer like the lower energy cost Psych Shock, just for like a little bit of extra coverage. But definitely, see, in the matches that Gyro Ball would be useful, like for example Cottony, of course it would do super effective damage being a fairy type Pokemon. You're already resisting the charms, so Gyro Ball is just kind of like a little bit overkill in my opinion. But unfortunately, well, after the Team Rocket event, I've just basically burned through all my charge TMs. I'm sure you guys are probably the same. Anyway guys, I haven't even said it yet, but go ahead and drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel guys if you haven't done so already. It'd be very much appreciated. And if you guys want to get some practice battles, or we're thinking about doing like some little Discord tournaments as well, some like custom cups and everything, and like just, yeah, like I said, little tournaments and everything, feel free to join up the Discord in the description down below. But man, the little cup, I don't know about this cup, boys and girls. Like, to be fair, like here's the thing, right? With the Mountain Cup, I was having a similar experience. You know, at the start actually it was really fun, and then towards the end of the middle of the week, you know, after Go Battle Day, you know, like I said, I just had a hard counter central day, double Razor Leafers, double fire. No matter what team I run, I was just getting hard countered with it. That's kind of how I've started off this cup. You know, like I said, I was on like massive winning streaks towards the end of the Mountain Cup, and you can see this game almost coming down to time here as well. This happens quite a lot with this team. With BRONZOR, it basically just runs the clock down. No, but like I said, like, you know, towards the end of the Mountain Cup, I was running Skarmory, just the team that I uploaded. Basically, Skarmory Escavalier with Whiscash in the front, and I was just getting really good matchups. I kept seeing Fairforns, I kept seeing pretty much, you know, for like 2 or 3 days, I run into the exact same Pokemon over and over again, and I was able to deal with those. So I think like in this cup, if I can find a team that, you know, can sort of get good matchups for me, you know, sometimes you just find a team and it just keeps working constantly because you just keep getting good matchups with it, you know what I mean? Especially around these elo ranges, you know, there's a lot of different Pokemon you can run into. So that's what I'm sort of hoping for with this little cup. but it is definitely looking rough at the start. I think Dewpider will definitely be a staple in my teams. I've been thinking about running maybe Dewpider, a Lowland Sandslash, and Bronzor. So kind of like a Dewpider in the front, right? You've got your Lowland Sandslash, which is a steel type, which of course will resist like charms, and of course Nose and Night Slash, and I think Body Slam, or maybe it's Body Slam. I'm not sure if it's Body Slam or Ice Weller Ball. I guess I could just check it up here, but a double steel team I think might be quite nice. There aren't really a lot of counters. Another Pokemon I would like to run in this cup would definitely be Riolu. Unfortunately, it's quite hard to get it under 500 CP unless you're trading. But it does no counter, and counter can be very powerful in this cup. Ducklet's another one that I'm looking to run potentially, but I'm not sure how I would run it. Maybe like Ducklet, double steel, but then you would sort of have, sort of a few less answers for actual Bronzor itself. So that's kind of like the one weakness of this team, I would say. Your main answer for Bronzor is Bronzor. With Dewpider, you can debuff it, and like, as you can see with this Shelmet matchup right here, you're doing a lot of damage. And I'm not sure what the percentages are in Bug Buzz debuffs, but I was getting them fairly consistently, actually. I'm actually just going to have a quick look here. 30% chance of -1 defense. I was getting them back to back sometimes, so definitely got a little bit lucky. And as you guys are seeing here, Alolan Sandslash itself is quite a problem for this team. Unfortunately, like I said, I swapped out my team, and I'm no longer running Wooper, so I'm not really sure what the best way is to run this cup. I think definitely in the Mountain Cup, ABB style teams were king in the cup 100%, like, just because it was so tight. ABB style teams definitely worked very well. But I'm thinking in this cup, maybe it's better to have just like a safe swap. Perhaps you could go for like your front Pokemon. Let's say Dewpider, which of course, Dewpider doesn't really have like a ton of weaknesses, because obviously with the water and bug typing, it's pretty safe. But things like, Ducklet and Bronzor would definitely be some sort of issue for it. So if you could figure out some sort of Pokemon that kind of beats both of those, and Vullaby, like basically flying types, and Bronzor are kind of like your hardest counters for Dewpider. So if you could figure out some sort of a team where you have maybe like a Bronzor safe swap, a Dewpider in the front, and then something that covers those weaknesses in the back, that might actually work out quite well. But yeah, guys, we got ourselves a nice little Lugia here. Definitely let me know, guys, how are you finding this cup? Maybe, let me see, why not lose this to Bronzor? I'm just kind of like, this was not really the plan for the video. I'm just having a look here. So maybe like just, yeah, Bronzor like sort of covers the Ducklet. Dino, yeah, so maybe Dino would be the one, actually, guys. Maybe like a Dewpider lead with a Bronzor safe swap and Dino in the back. Dino covers both Ducklet and Bronzor, so I feel like that might be quite a good team. Unfortunately, actually, like I wasn't ever expecting to use Dinos. Of course, we had the community day and I just transferred a bunch of them. So unfortunately, I don't have a Dino with the good, like a good CP range for this cup. But there's a good call for you guys, like maybe a Dark in the back. I wonder how like Skunky does against Ducklet. Maybe it would do okay. But anyway, guys, let's hop into these battles. With this team, I got a lot of battles that were kind of getting down to the timer, unfortunately. So yeah, this team, it definitely runs a little bit slower. I was kind of surprised I was able to get it down to the timer. Just having a quick look here for sort of PV poke here. Drifblim looks like it might be a good option, so you probably will see me running some Drifblim matches. I might even do the Shadow. I think I do have a Shadow one. Unfortunately, guys, I spent about 600 or 700k in this cup, which is kind of hilarious if you think about it. It's like, oh, Master League's here. I don't want to spend all my resources on Master League, and then I proceed to spend like 600 or 700k on this cup, which is kind of hilarious. I don't even have this fully maxed out, this Bronzor, but it did cost a couple of 100k. The way I'm sort of looking at it is like, okay, I've never played this cup before, and I've seen some like footage of it, and you just need this Pokemon, like. But as it sort of turned out at the start, people are just building teams around this Pokemon. So maybe like, that was kind of my thinking. It's like, okay, I'll build a counter to the counter Bronzor teams, do you know what I mean? Because I was just getting ripped at the start, so it's like, right, okay, people are trying to counter this, so I'll try to counter whatever counters that, basically. So that was kind of the idea with this. And I decided to keep Bronzor in the team, just so I can like draw out the counters for Bronzor and, deal with them with the double bug. That was kind of the thinking there. A little bit of a close match there, unfortunately couldn't take that one there. But, it is what it is sometimes. Alright, Bronzor into Bronzor. I think in this match we just decide to stay in. I might even go for a catch on Shelmet right here. Yeah, so go for catching Shelmet. Store a payback, which I think is quite nice actually. One stored payback can just do a ton. And I'm thinking the opponent's going to try and catch here, so I decide not to throw straight away. It is a ducklet, and you guys are about to see the Shelmet spam right here. Shelmet is pretty good. I'm not too sure if I like it like a lot, to be fair. Maybe there are some better options. It is ranked very highly, but maybe it's like a sim warrior, as people call it, where it's like it's ranked super highly, just because it has like certain wins. I'm not sure if I'm like the biggest fan of it, but definitely you're seeing it put in a ton of work. It's pretty bulky. And I was trying to swap out there and store the body slam, but I was actually pretty happy at this point because I'm like, okay, this is perfect. I'm just going to be able to come in here and just farm all the way down with this big, bulky, stupid-looking coin, this stupid-looking floating coin. We're just going to farm down with it and leave with 100 energy. And the opponent's debuffed me, so I'm just going to swap straight out. And in comes the Slowpoke, which again is another Pokemon I was thinking about running, but this Dewpider is just absolutely tearing through it. I decided to debuff it here as well. So the attack will do a little bit less damage. It's probably, yes, Ice Shock, which does a lot of damage. Look at that. Definitely a very glass cannon right there. And right here, I decide, okay, this debuff could be very valuable, because it means like I can easily survive, and I've got a ton of energy on my Bronzong as well. I can easily survive a payback. Can I get to another one here? At this point, guys, I was actually tempted to shield this, because I feel like double debuffing this just pretty much guarantees a win for you. But I've almost got back-to-back paybacks on this thing. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I can definitely like easily survive a payback, and we're gonna outpace here. Even though the opponent was up a shield there, now we're up a shield, and they're just reaching their first payback here. And of course, we're already ahead in energy. So you know, this could get a little bit tricky. It just sort of depends on the damage, but I'm thinking because they're debuffed, we should be in a good spot here. And you know, this is just a horrible old match, isn't it? You're gonna see here, I think the opponent, they actually go for a funny play here. They go for the Psyshock. 11, 10, look at the top. Guys, the timer is about to run out. The opponent was playing to the timer right there, which is so funny. But yeah, let me know, guys, what you're running in this cup. I'm definitely all for the ideas, and yeah, definitely let me know. Guys, I ran into an Igglybuff today, which was a really funny one. Guys, you're gonna see, I want to leave this in here. I just don't have an answer for this thing. If you ever get this matchup, just stay in. Literally just completely forgot that this thing resists both of my moves on here. If you're gonna swap out at all, like, you just swap into Dewpider, honestly. But you should just stay in this match and just, you know, try to get off some damage. These Shadow Balls do crazy damage. Boom, good night. And in comes my Bronzor. So if you guys are looking for an anti-Bronzor Pokemon, dude, like, get this Pokemon out. Whip out your Drifloon, whatever it's called. Whip that thing out. It does very, very well. I'm actually curious. It probably beats Wynot as well. So it's probably just a really good Pokemon in this cup. Drifloon, okay, so it's ranked 38, and the Shadow's ranked 50 odd. So it does lose to Dino, Ducklet. It actually loses to Bronzor apparently. That's kind of wild. So there you go. I completely made a mistake there, it looks like. How do you lose to Bronzor? So does Bronzor just go straight Psyshock? So I guess I didn't have Psyshock. I would have went Psyshock for sure, if I had it. But again, Team Rocket event, you know, don't have TMs, you know, you hate to see it, folks. You just hate to see it. But yeah, no, it's definitely a good Pokemon. It beats Dewpider, actually. It beats Shelmet, Wooper, Wynot. And honestly, there's probably some sort of scenario, maybe like in the 2-shield, it's a little bit better. I just top left at that point. So as it turns out, guys, you actually win the 2-shield scenario with Drifblim, but I think you lose the 1s and the 0s. Because of course the paybacks will do a ton of damage. And I thought that this might be worth mentioning. On the Bronzor, I've decided to run an interesting moveset because confusions will get resisted by quite a lot of different Pokemon in this cup. So I decided to run Tackle. I believe it is better in the mirror match. It's definitely better against the dark types. It can be a little bit tricky if you run into like a steel type, but the only steel type I've really run into, except for Bronzor, is the Sand Slash. You know, both of which moves will be resisted anyway. And you're a little bit more versatile if you can just kind of like throw a move and then go for a catch. Getting stuck on the confusion animation is a bit of a pain, and honestly I'm not really seeing like a ton of grass types and stuff in the meta, so the super effective confusion damage is not really there at the moment, unless you run into the occasional poison type, or if somebody does have a Riolu, you might get some super effective damage. But I do definitely think, guys, you know, as the days go by here, less and less people will start running, you know, Bronzor. I think I've seen like maybe 2 Wynots today, Unfortunately, that's something I don't have access to. But you know, that's where this team will be very, very good as well. Once Why Not start coming into the play a little bit more, and of course you're going to still see the dark Pokemon going, you know, of course against the Why Not and Bronzor. I think Double Bug is definitely going to be very strong. It's up to you guys if you want to run Bronzor in the lead. If you want to run like these two particular Pokemon in the back, it's up to yourself if you want to run Bronzor. I know it's like too expensive for most people, and to be fair, like I sort of regret dumping all of the Stardust and resources into it, to be honest with you guys. It hasn't really worked out that well so far. So you can definitely look at a different option. You know, try to sort of look at what counters these two Pokemon. Maybe you could go for a Whipper in the front as well, which of course would sort of deal with like the fire types, which would be a little bit troublesome for Shelmet. Whipper has some play against Bronzor itself, so you really just have to choose your weaknesses, but I decided this might be a good team to start with. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed the video. As always guys, drop a like, drop a sub. It's very much appreciated. We're getting really close to 1.2k. And guys, we're going to do some viewer tournaments in the Discord community here, so feel free to join up. And like I said guys, all likes, comments and subs really do help out the channel a lot, so thank you very much, it is very much appreciated. Finally, if you want to become a channel member, that is an option, so feel free to check that out down below as well. Thank you everybody, and have a fantastic rest of your day.